thank you for your talk. One of the key things that I've noticed about you, I mean, when you look at the crowd and you're a young man coming in and you're pouring back and reaching back out, and that's beautiful. And so thank you for what you do. Wow, greetings. I want to just thank everybody for coming out. You guys look amazing out here. And just by being here, I got the opportunity to see history. I mean, there's people who come up to me and you have a lot of history that has shaped the fabric of who we are, of this community of Southern California. So I just wanted to greet you and say thank you for that. Wow, what an amazing event. This post really knows how to throw a party. So thank you for that. I want to just say thank you to my amazing wife here, who's here, Tanya Coker, who's my better half of 31 years. I also want to thank David. So David called me and he says, you know, would you be interested in being our guest speaker? And I get people come and ask me to speak, but then I always kind of think like, you know, what do you want me to say? Usually folks have some kind of process or some kind of things that they want, but he said, just tell your story. So I thought, and I said, well, I don't think I have any story more amazing than anyone else. But you know, my story is I did 26 years in the military, and you know, and I wanted to start off with a quote that's been resonating with me for the last several weeks. And this quote was by Abraham Lincoln, and it says, "Those who deny freedom to others deserve it not themselves." And so, in thinking about that, I shared that with my wife, and she's, well, and I said, well, you know, when you talk to your wife, you know, sometimes they just think we're way out there. And so she said, what does that mean? I said, well, it's just been rolling around. She said, well, no, it means something to you. And then I had to stop and think. And then I thought about freedom does not come free. And when I thought about Veterans Day, there's a cost that was paid. I was at a great event at another city with our supervisor, and we had an event where we looked at the cost of war, the several battles that we've had, that there were, you know, sacrifices, lives lost. So thank you to each and every one of you here. And then, you know, as we look at being individuals who, in my position as a sergeant major and sometimes in different leadership positions, we always have someone who we kind of look to, whether it be a father or a brother or an older individual, and we kind of look to them and we kind of glean wisdom from them. Sometimes we tell them, and sometimes they know, and sometimes from afar. I'd just like to share something, and you guys may know this individual, General Colin Powell. General Colin Powell, yes, absolutely. He wrote a book about 2 or 3 years ago. It was called It Worked for Me in Life and Leadership. And he had 13 rules that he had, that he just, over the period of time, that he just wrote down, and he actually kept it on a desk in his office, and he just slipped, whenever somebody gave him some great words of wisdom, he slipped it, wrote it down, slipped it under his desk. And then when he wrote his book, he came back and he said, and he wrote down these 13 things. And the one that resonates with me the most, and another one of those things, like, what does it mean? And I tell my wife, I was like, literally, that's true. I said, his 13th rule was, perpetual optimism is a force multiplier. Perpetual optimism is a force multiplier. And so when I look at that, is what I see in this room is perpetual optimism, a force multiplier. Everyone in here believing, coming out, showing up is a force multiplier. And so that's my 2 posts for today. I hope it made sense to someone. But what I wanted to do is share, yes, I shared with you earlier that I did 26 years in the military. In fact, I did 26 years, 9 months, and 11 days, but who's counting? So, you know, when I retired and I used to hear people say those things, wow, I did so many years, and they talk about it in years and months and days, I used to think that that person either had a long, tough career or was very smart and detail-oriented. And then what I realized afterwards that it was neither. It was HRC command, Human Resource Command. They give it to us on our leave paperwork because they don't want to pay us a dime more than they need to. So, but just sharing a little bit, I did 2 tours in Iraq. I received a Bronze Star. I had 2 surgeries, and you know, one of the things about, you know, when I deployed and I came back, you know, as we come back and we're happy that we made it back and things are going okay and, you know, we're intact, and we mourn for those who did not. But one of the things that, you know, we just shake it off and we think, okay, I'm all right. And we just keep moving on because we made it back and we were told if we made it back, suck it up and keep going. And so when I came back, I did that. I did that for a couple years, and then one moment I have my wife and I have 2 beautiful daughters. But at one moment, I always knew that I was on edge. I always had a little edge going on. Always edge. And I just thought that was part of my personality. I still do. But it was a little bit over the top. And one moment, I seen myself looking up the stairs at 3 sets of eyes staring down at me, looking like, what is wrong with you? I literally went off on my wife and daughters at the bottom of the stairs about some shoes. Literally shoes at the bottom of the stairs in the wrong place at the wrong time. And so I threw a gasp. And then at that time, I already knew, but it was a crystallizing moment. My wife said, you need to get counseling. I said, there was nothing I could say. Nothing I could say. And then I went and seek counseling. Then I was told that, you know, when you go to counseling and it's about PTSD and some of these others, they got these pamphlets. Every VA's got 1 million pamphlets about everything. Hey, I'm sneezing, got a pamphlet on it. So they opened up the pamphlet, and there's 5 to 7 signs that these are the key things that you have if you've got this thing. And so I opened it up, and out of the 7, I had 5 of those. You know, whatever it was, if you're restless, your sleepless nights, and all of those kinds of things. And so at that point, I knew it, and I said, okay, well, let me just dig in here and get counseling, and I go do the counseling, and I'll continue to drive on. I'll continue to work, and I'll continue to drive on. And I did. I got the counseling, and I kept driving on. And so, you know, as a veteran, as a soldier, we have a couple things in common that brings us all together, whether you're in the Army, the Navy, the Air Force, the Marine, the Coast Guard. There's certain things that bring us together. And one of those things is mission. We all strive for mission. Every one of us. We strive for mission. We strive for connection. That's why one of us can talk to somebody and never know them and seem like we're brothers and sisters and we've known each other for life. And then we want to make an impact. So with that, I went back into active duty. In fact, not only did I go back in, I jumped in the deep end, and my family was here in California, and I took a job in Texas. So my family was here, my beautiful wife and 2 daughters, but I took a job in Texas because it was for the good of the family. It was a mission. You gotta have a mission. So I took that job, and I was stationed, in fact, for 4 years away from my family. But it wasn't away because I could call them every day. I could come back on holidays, but I was planning a career. I was growing, I was creating an environment for them that they probably couldn't see it now, but they would see it in the future. And so, as I've gone to that, I did great years. I was at 5th Brigade. I was a sergeant major at the brigade level and having a lot of responsibilities, doing a lot of things, but those things kind of creep back. You know, you can work so much, but then after a while, it's just like running a good tire. can buy the best tire, but after a while, it's going to need to be replaced and repaired. So I did that, and then I end up just having other challenges. I end up becoming a wounded warrior. My body started breaking down. I ended up having a hip surgery, shoulder surgery. You know, that's the physical piece. But the mental piece goes along with it. A lot of times your mental piece goes before the physical, because the physical you can keep going because I've got, you know, I can make a muscle. So as that happened, I ended up having to make a choice. I had a surgery, hip surgery, and the doctor told me, he said, well, Sergeant Major, if this surgery doesn't work, you're going to have a total hip. I looked at him. Excuse me? He said, if this surgery doesn't work and you still have pain, you're going to have a total hip. I said, I'm done. At that moment, he looked at me and he said, you don't want therapy? You don't want to go through it? Because they always give you therapy. When you know you're hurt, go to therapy. That will fix it. So he says, so I said, no, you need to, I'm done. I'm going to the house. So at that particular moment, that started the trail, and I had to determine whether I was going to get a medical out, or if I was going to, you know, go the hoorah way, you know, and stay in and not, you know, not go that medical and not go to the hospital unit as a sergeant major. So all of those things about who you are and anxiety and all those things came in place. You know, that whole, you know, macho and that whole, you know, I got this. I had to make a decision. It was tough. The guys are saying, oh, you don't want to do that. You don't want no medical. You know, what is that? I said, then I had just realized, I have nothing else to prove. Done all the things that I needed to do. I'm breaking down, so I got to start looking at all those things that I was thinking I was building to go back home to. I'm away from home and I'm building. And then I've got to start looking at who is this for? What? Is it really as it is about my ego? So I said, you know what, I'm done. Give me the medical. I'm going home. So they put me in this medical unit. I may go over, let me know, I may go over my time. I'm a sergeant major, so we talk about so they put me in the medical unit. But what I did is I had served admirably. And so all of my soldiers were coming by saying, you know, hoo-ahs and saying great things. So that whole thing that I was thinking that, man, you know, this is going to be the shame out. You know, I had to leave the unit. I was in a position. But that brotherhood, they came back and they were saying things. And they actually had a big going away ceremony. So I went back to the unit and they gave me a big grand ceremony. But then when I got back in my room, I said, I've got a total hip. This is not how I want to do retirement. This is not. All of that time I got in there and I started thinking, what was it for and why? This is where you can get into the black hole like, I have a total hip. I'm done. I'm toast. I can't function anymore. That's wrong. That was my head spinning. So then what I did is I started to look outward. I started to look at the other people around me in that hospital unit. My God, I was one of the blessed ones. I literally was one of the ones that was doing better. I looked around, I seen people who I didn't have a word for. They didn't move like normal people because of the medication that they were on. Some people were taking 20-something meds, just a whole lot of different things. Some people didn't have limbs. There was just a lot. And then I had to shake out of it. I had to be done. You know, then that mission, that leadership thing kicked in and I said, okay, it's not about me. At that particular point is when I decided I had to do something different. And we started our foundation. So our foundation is Reaching New Heights Foundation. I started it as our transition. It's a nonprofit 501(c) that works with veterans in transition. We work with veterans, with the county. We have great partnerships with our board of supervisors. We have great partnerships with this county. We have great partnerships with different organizations. And we help veterans transition